Today I'm at the Tillsonburg Pioneer Cemetery in Tillsonburg, Ontario. This cemetery was established in 1838 and was actually only an active cemetery for 32 years before it was closed down. Many of the prominent families of Tillsonburg have been interred here, including the Tillson family themselves. So let's go check out the cemetery and see what we've got. It's actually on quite a busy road, so let's see. So right now I am at the Tillsonburg Pioneer Graveyard in Tillsonburg, Ontario. This is actually sort of at a nexus of a couple of busy roads. So it's not exactly a quiet space to spend eternity, but it is a protected space that has had a lot of work done on it in the past to restore the cemetery, to give the inhabitants, their names back. So a lot of research has been done in this cemetery. There was a heritage project, and every member has been named, their dates, whatever was known about them. And this is going back to all of the original cemetery records. So there may not actually be grave markers for everyone that's listed on this sort of monolith. And you can see here we've got the Tillson family. So that is the family for whom Tillsonburg is named. And again, some more work that's gone into just reclaiming the heritage and ensuring that this history is not forgotten. There's been a lot of work done in this cemetery. A lot of grave markers were treated with that concrete treatment that was very popular. And again, you all know my feelings on that, although not of modern conservation practice, in that it's not reversible. It has preserved the stone, so it is all good, even though we wouldn't do this today. And you can see that through the rehabilitation project in this cemetery, there are these milestones, for lack of a better term, that just indicate what section they are and what the monument number is. And this corresponds with the numbers at that first monolith as soon as you come in. So we've got some really interesting preservation techniques here. Again, this is an old school repair. You can see the concrete mortar in the middle of the monument. Again, we wouldn't be using concrete today. And they've used a ferrous material, so that will ultimately stain the marble. And again, we've got similar kinds of rehabilitation and interesting little, almost look like croquet markers there. So just showing the back of these restored markers. Although I'm not a cemetery preservation expert, I am a trained museum professional, and a lot of the same principles that go into preserving historic artifacts apply to grave markers. And so when I see a historic repair that's not something we would do today, but is preserve the monument, I say, great, I'm glad someone did it. I'm glad someone had the foresight to do it. Would we do that today? Probably not. One of our goals in museum conservation and preservation is basically to do the least invasive work that you can in order to preserve the stability and longevity of the object. So although it's perfectly possible to restore things to their original condition, we don't. So we are seeing that here, that same do the least you can in order to preserve the stability. So that's why we're seeing these little L brackets. Like I say before, probably bought at Home Depot or something like that, but it's preserving the marker, it's stopping, I don't know, forces of snow or other things from having that marker topple over. Again, different levels of restoration. So here we have concrete. So we have a big gap, big loss here. This sort of mortar and tenon style repair. I can see there's another hole drilled in here. And this marble is just flaking in my fingers. Now this is an interesting scenario. I do not know what I'm looking at here. It's a complete destruction of the marble by the looks of it. You can see there is a monument here, and we've got this white powder. And you can see here just elements of the moss that was growing on the stone. Definitely this was a grave marker. I've never seen this kind of destruction before. The grave markers have been clustered up and put into these little groupings. The odd marker stands where I assume it originally stood, but generally everything is grouped together. The Historical Society has done research on literally every name they could find associated with this graveyard, and that information is available at the Annandale National Historic Site here in Tillsonburg. So another shameless plug, I think I gave a shameless plug for the McMichael Art Collection back when I talked about the Group of 7 cemetery. So I'm going to give another shameless plug for another museum, and this is the Annandale House in Tillsonburg, which is a National Historic Site. It's fabulous. So if you're ever out this way, I highly recommend it. And if you're doing genealogy on any family from this part of the world, from the Tillsonburg area, Oxford County area, absolutely check in on the Annandale House, because they have made a concerted effort to do the research for everyone. Everyone here has their name and they have their story. That's why we do this, isn't it? I suppose there's always that little part of us that wants to ensure that we live on, and by carving our names in stone, that's some little step towards that immortality. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But the fact that the local Historical Society has gone to that effort, I mean, this is a small community, small but growing community, and the fact that they have that kind of passion for their roots, that they've been able to track down every person, every family, everyone has their name, whether you can read them on the grave markers or not. And frankly, I was having a difficult time reading some of the grave markers. So someone has done that research for us, and that information is available on the monolith when you come in to the cemetery. In memory of our pioneer families listed here and those whose names and dates have been lost to time.